We managed to do it. We pushed it to the edge. We found a way to get the Democrats to defend Iran. We didn't think this would be possible. They used to say that Iran does not have nuclear weapons. Right now, CNN is changing the tune. Now, CNN is updated reality because, of course, they don't live in reality, and they've decided to announce, no, actually, the nuclear weapons weren't destroyed, all right? We went from Iran doesn't have nukes to Trump failed to destroy Iran's nukes within a week. Now, that's CNN. CNN is, I'd say, middle left, all right? They're center left. But the radical lefties, they're on another side. They're not actually supporting the idea of stopping them from having nukes. They actually want them to have nukes. You see, the radical leftists are America's newest organization. You are not ready for the level of retardation that we are about to see today. This over here is the champion of terrorism. Hassan Diddy Bin Laden Epstein Adolf Piker. This is him. Well, I'll just play the clip.
Fordo is a nuclear facility that is built specifically and totally for the murder of Jews in Israel.
Are we laughing? The murder of Jews in Israel. Oh, it just brings tears to my eyes. That's fucking hilarious. Anyway, mostly peaceful nuclear sites were taken out by Daddy Trump. The leftists, of course, freaked out because they like terrorism. But even more than that, there is more than just a little bit of retardation going on the left in America right now, because while the center left definitely is having a hard time, it is, in my opinion, the far left that is not just growing in popularity, but is actively becoming a terrorist organization. One more time for people in the back.
Fordo is a nuclear facility that is built specifically and totally for the murder of Jews in Israel.
All right, anyway, pay no attention. Iran has clarified that its new Jew Smasher 3000 missile is meant only for peace. All right, so anywho, a friend of mine, Think Before You Sleep, made a video talking about how the leftists became a terrorist organization. So I agree. Lock in, boys and girls.
For the person out there who's planning on doing it, you know, the thing that we all wake up every day hoping we'll see in the news.
What do we hope?
Done it?
Done what? What are we referring to?
Keep going. Your plan, it's gonna work. If not, it'll inspire the next person. And I will definitely...
So trying to do it will inspire the next person, but what are we talking about?
Put money on your books. We're all rooting for you and hoping that you do it quickly.
What are we rooting for, guys?
And get away with it.
For those of you...
Yeah, this is talking about killing Trump, okay? Just to make this clear, this is talking about assassinating the president of the United States. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's what we're talking. Doing it is telling people to go kill Trump. And even if you fail, hopefully the next guy will succeed. That's what she's saying. This is terrorism. It really is. This is incitement of violence and terrorism, and I really don't think it should be remotely accepted. I don't think it should be remotely accepted that this shit should be able to happen at all. First of all, it's illegal. And second of all, it is only empowering more people to do the same shit. See, the thing is, the reason why there are laws is because the laws need to be enforced. The moment the laws aren't enforced, it'll just empower more people to go and do more of this shit. They've lost the plot. I think that we have to stop calling the far left just the far left. We have to actively acknowledge them as terrorists, in my opinion.
Hoping that you do it quickly and get away with it.
For those of you who aren't clued in, she's encouraging someone to assassinate Donald Trump.
Yep.
Which is a crime, by the way.
Yep.
Inciting violence and offering to pay someone to murder for you is not protected speech. But this is like a new TikTok trend now where a bunch of crazies are asking if Trump is dead yet.
Hey, MAGA, is he dead yet? That's
Holy shit, look at her. Look at her!
the only conversation that I want to have with you. Whether
Look at these people. It's okay. I don't think anyone in MAGA wants to have conversations with you. Holy shit, you look like a zombie.
or not he's dead yet. So stay off my fucking page unless you're coming to tell me that Donald is dead.
Wow, dude. Hell yeah, dude. It's an actual terrorist organization.
Genuinely
I
believe...
can't believe that Genshin Impact Paimon voice actor would go out and do this. Like, dude, I can't believe it. She really aged over the last couple of weeks.
Fucking page unless you're coming
Where are your eyebrows? Like, what happened, bro?
to tell
That's some crazy eyes. Dude, there has to be some weird overlap between leftist terrorists and people with these googly eyes.
me that Donald is dead.
I genuinely believe that these people are so uneducated that they don't know that this would make J.D. Vance president, and he basically has the same values as Trump.
Not the point! Dude, J.D. Vance is a fucking wall. That dude.
So anyway, a few years ago, I made this video here called How People Are Being Radicalized, which was primarily a response to a giant YouTuber named Ludwig reacting to my content. And look, there's Hassan Piker right there.
Get it away! way!
Thumbnail, who could have predicted 3 years ago that he would be a major force radicalizing people today?
He is. He should be in jail too, honestly. I think that, honestly, raising awareness to this shit is so important. It is so important. Making your voices heard, making people aware that this is happening. I really think it's important to talk about this.
But since that video, things have continued to get worse, and now we have even more
Oh my god, what is that? Dude, this is my new favorite tweet that I've been making. I'm gonna start, I think, replying this to all of, like, AOC's tweets. Definitely worth following me on Twitter for this alone. This is enough of a reason to follow me on Twitter, in my opinion. So I firmly believe we should be, I would like to be doing this for all of AOC's tweets. Let me find the tweet. It's a banger. It's so good. Fuck yeah, dude. So AOC makes a tweet. Maybe that's because you advised the president to illegally bomb Iran. And I just responded with this one. I feel like we all need to do this. Okay? I want to make this clear. Absolutely. I think it's beautiful. I think it's art. I think it expresses exactly what I'm trying to say. I am doing nothing but being completely accurate with what I have to say. Fuck yes, dude. Incredibly based.
ill liberals screaming at everyone. Though the best part of the current year is that a lot of the—
It's so funny because the people I want to be in life the least are the people that are suspiciously leftist terrorists. Like, these people have the worst lives. They are godless people, familyless people that no one cares about, that will die alone. They're broke-ass bitches. Or Nepo babies.
them are coming out of the closet on bullying.
But I do have to give Tim Waltz credit for saying that we need to be meaner. Because
Oh, good. Oh, hell yeah. Just say the quiet part out loud. Yeah, I'm just saying, man, every single one of these videos, I don't know if it's done on purpose. I don't know if it's an accident, but this whole women's voting thing, I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of, god damn.
A lot of you need to be, like, meaner. Of course that's what you're saying. You leftists just want to bully everybody. I mean, yeah. In this case, yeah. If you're still walking around with a MAGA hat, yeah.
All
right. Terrorism, baby. Let's fucking go.
right, that's what everyone's been waiting for. I'm sure the news of the new bullying meta will make the MAGA hats very happy.
Ooh.
But what
The MAGA guys have the guns, though. Just reminding you.
really seems to be the issue here with all these people going onto TikTok to have psychotic breakdowns or tell people to take canned food, put it into a sock, and then use that to beat your family members.
Dog. Bro, Frogan took off her hijab to teach us kung fu?
Who voted for Trump is that they are so incapable of listening to any differing viewpoints that they don't understand their opposition or even their own side well enough to see why Trump is so—
Dude, they don't understand anything. They don't understand anything. They are the most uneducated people on the face of the planet. What do you mean uneducated? I have a degree in liberal arts and lesbian tap dance theory from Uganda. Yeah, motherfucker. Sorry, bro. Sorry, dog. That don't count.
popular.
You were a Democrat.
I was
You
my
always
whole
been a
life.
Really?
I first voted for Bill Clinton and voted Democrat every single year until
Nice.
November. We can't just have
Oh.
anyone cross the border. What I
Wow! Is she using her brain?
will tell you is that it was not for Donald Trump, we might still be living next to gang members.
You see, she got radicalized. You know, she got radicalized to the right. All it took was a gang member, rapist, illegal, probably, that was living next to her. Pretty weird. What radicalizes people?
Because everything changed after he was elected.
Wow, look at that. Someone that actually, she is the one that had to eat the consequences of all the other Karens.
Right, you can't just let a ton of people illegally cross the border. That's a great way to enable child sex trafficking. The trafficking of—
Yeah, they don't care. They do not care. You don't understand. It is the most performative culture of all time. These are people with zero morals, zero values, godless people that have no idea what the difference is between right and wrong. No clue. They don't care. It does not matter to them whatsoever. It's all about the grift. It's all about the movement. These are absolute degenerates.
dangerous hard drugs like fentanyl, and it
don't
allows
care.
criminals to invade—
See, let me explain something to you. Because these are people that live in, like, actual godless dystopias, because that is the case, these people think that if you're a consenting adult, everything's fine, all right? That is the mindset that these people go through. If you are consenting and you are an adult, everything is good. And I'll be honest, that is not true, okay? I'm sorry. Consenting adult doesn't make everything cool, and now the government should let people get fentanyl. And, well, they consented to enter the country illegally, and I consented for them to enter the country illegally. Oh, yeah, incest? What's wrong with that, bro? We're consenting adults. That's where this shit dies. It is a mentally degenerate philosophy that a lot of these people have.
our country unabated. Some of these wokies seem to be quick to forget that not even 6 months ago, Venezuelan gangs were assaulting and kidnapping people in Colorado apartments. There's a reason why we have borders, and in fact,
Absolutely.
I'm old enough to remember when Bernie Sanders was against illegals.
Open borders? That's a Koch brothers proposal.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, right? Even this guy, this fucking retard who's been going around making the rounds now, being a complete freak. Yeah, even this guy, everyone has come together on this one.
The idea, of course, I mean, that's a right-wing proposal which says essentially there is no United States.
But
it
would make a lot of global poor richer, wouldn't it?
And it'd make everybody in America poor. Then you're doing away with the concept of a nation state. Well, in this country,
yeah, wow. No borders means no nation. True, you're so right. Oh my God.
Kinds of people who work for $2 or $3 an hour. That would be great for them. I don't believe in that.
It's actually not just Bernie Sanders who's spoken out against illegals. In fact, every president on the left that's taken office during my lifetime has been against open borders.
Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held.
Oh my God. My favorite thing is how badly Trump derangement syndrome ruined these people's lives. Like, these people's lives have been crippled by Trump derangement syndrome. And honestly, it's the media. I think it's the media. It's the Democrats that are trying to fucking herd people into their mindset. It's like actual communist shit. Like, these are people that fight for rights and whatever, but they don't realize that they are literally under some sort of communist boot. Like, this is like people in Russia that just get propaganda about how it's a just war versus Ukraine and we've done nothing wrong. This is it's the people in North Korea that don't understand that the rest of the world is not a slave camp. All right, it's the people in Iran that thinks that they won the war against America, because you don't understand, they declared victory in Iran against America yesterday. They had a victory parade in Iran against America yesterday. Okay, to make this clear, like, you people are shepherded just like those guys. You're all retards, literally being mind broken by people that are not having your best interests in mind. Everything that you are blaming Trump for is something that Obama was even stricter about, okay? Now, don't get me wrong, I don't like Obama. I don't. However, these things specifically, like deportations, this dude deported 3 million people. He deported way more than Trump. You're blaming Trump for bombing Iran's nuclear sites? Dog, this dude dropped 26,000 bombs in foreign countries without congressional approval, and no one cared.
All Americans in every place in this country are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more by hiring a record number of new border guards.
I voted for a fence. Punish American employers who knowingly violate the law when in fact they hire illegals.
Crazy, right? But going back to what Bernie Sanders said, open borders used to very much be a right-wing position that George Bush Jr. was infamous for allowing in the 2000s. In the past, I believe Republicans were very pro-amnesty of illegals because big businesses loved hiring them as a soft form of slave labor.
Yeah, but it turns out Republicans are now the party for the people. And the messaging in the media is just telling you that's not true when it actually is true.
Because they had to accept very low pay, and if they wanted to organize for some sort of workers' rights, they could just be deported. But now it seems like cheap labor is a leftist position.
Hey, Viv, these mass deportations are going to help out real Americans, right?
Then I'm going to stop you right there. First off, if watching families being ripped apart does not appeal to your humanity, let me...
This is insane! What is this appeal to humanity bullshit, man?
Trying to appeal to you financially, because these mass ICE deportations are bad for the economy. So while...
That's it, baby. We got liberal women telling you about reality.
Undocumented immigrants actually make up a really small portion of the overall workforce.
Right.
They are overrepresented in jobs that you do not want.
Great. That's it. Bird hands and everything is clear now.
Things that have little benefits, long hours.
Yeah, you don't want all these jobs.
Backbreaking work.
True. Let's slave labor for the immigrants. Am I right, guys? We're not a terrorist organization.
With no pay. For example, about 42% of the agricultural workforce.
Without the...
Fuck yeah. Now, there's a reason why people can't... You get people in America that want to get jobs, but they can't because people are getting illegal immigrants jobs instead, and they're, using them as slaves. Let's fucking go, dude.
Slaves, who will pick the cotton? But in reality, illegals make it...
Democrats fighting for slavery since the Civil War.
Very difficult for small businesses who want to provide good pay and good working conditions to compete against big businesses or other small businesses who are essentially cheating. Also, those same illegals are stealing away resources from people who actually pay into the system.
True. I mean, they also get, you don't understand, they get funding from Social Security, from Medicare, for all of those shit. Where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? Let me make this clear to you. Nothing in this world is free. Someone is paying for it, okay? Nothing is free. In this case, I'm paying for it.
And that's causing those people to switch parties.
This was the precise moment I no longer was a Democrat.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Let me stop you right there.
Wow.
They're not undocumented immigrants. They're
illegal aliens.
Illegal alien.
I really hate this fucking term shit. It's like, oh, we're going to manipulate language for you to not realize the fact that we're actually saying something totally different.
Calling them immigrants implies that they are legally here, and they are not legally here. Stop trying to confuse people on purpose by changing the language. Anyway, let's continue.
True. He's right.
Okay. Everyone raised their hands saying they were in favor of giving free healthcare to illegals.
Yeah, and how is that, where's that coming from? Because these people are illegal, right? So they're not paying taxes probably. So where is that money coming from? Oh, from you! Oh, true! And you know the craziest thing is, the wildest thing ever? The wildest thing is this works. This works on people. People fall for this shit. They do.
Wait, was one of those people Bernie Sanders? Let's get a higher quality image from YouTube and yep.
There he is. Wow, look at that guy.
Is. What a wild political shift.
That was the precise...
Yeah, look at that. He changed his tune because he's bought. All these people are fucking bought. They're all grifters. These unbelievable grifters. Holy shit.
Moment that I knew I was leaving the Democratic Party because I was a 2-time bone cancer survivor. I voted for Obama-Biden based on Obamacare. And when it was implemented in 2010, I went from an insurance plan that was $185 a month with a $1,000 deductible, and I was left with the cheapest option being $1,200 a month, $6,000 deductible. I went 10 years without insurance because I could no longer afford insurance. Every single Democrat candidate up on that debate stage raised their hand and said they would give illegals free health care. That was the exact moment.
Absolutely. They are fucking Americans. They are literally destroying Americans because they want to help people that don't deserve it.
I was no longer a Democrat.
You want to know why your medical bills are so expensive? Well, there's a lot of
you've got to fund all the people that aren't paying taxes.
Reasons for that, but a big one is the fact that emergency rooms are legally required to take care of people who enter them, whether they have the money or not.
True.
And illegals love using that as a form of healthcare, followed by not paying for their bill. So the hospitals just jack up the prices for everyone else to pay for that.
Yep.
And to have to say that the taxpayers are tired of being
free for illegals, not free for Americans. Makes sense, right?
Looted by the people gaming the system and by the flunkies of society.
They cut my motherfucking food stamps to $85 from $738. How the fuck that's supposed to support a household of 3? How the am I supposed to survive off that shit? So when y'all see me in the motherfucking stores stuffing that shit in my motherfucking bag, nicely act like you don't see shit.
Just
direct advocate. Yes, obviously, because now there are illegal people that we have to pay for also. Now that we need to pay for illegal people, now I don't make as much money, so the solution is stealing shit. Actual terrorist organization.
Just by looking at you, everyone can tell that you aren't starving, so pay for your own food or have fun ending up in a jail cell after you try to steal it.
Bro, how could you say such a thing? I, for one, am ashamed. I, for one, can't... You looked at her, and based on her weight... You assume she's not starving?
Babies and their breasts are empty. Do you know what that smells like?
So true, so true.
But these days in America...
That was a joke because the Hamas terrorists are all fat during an alleged health crisis, food starvation crisis. All the fat Hamas people.
Every leftist and their grandmother is just...
Her breasts weren't empty.
Looting taxpayers to make up for their own terrible decisions. And like I said, it's not just the right that's tired of being bullied by these people. Stuff like this has been causing longtime Democrats to flee the party.
You know the scariest part? Next election is going to be, I think, very scary. Because even though I do think Trump is turning things around a lot, I think that the mainstream left in America is dying. And it's going to be the radical left terrorists that are going to actually start becoming a lot more excitable by the people. You know, your Hassan Pikers are going to keep getting more and more popular and more grounds unless America actually imprisons terrorists. Like, dude... Look, you just won the fucking mayoral primary in New York City. It globalized the Intifada guy. That guy won the fucking primary in New York. It's crazy.
And that's because this is stealing. This is called theft. You guys want to know why?
Yeah, that's called theft. It's one of the 10 Commandments, actually. We got to start implementing basic Bible studies instead of, I don't know, gender ideology, queer, trans theory. All right, they got to learn basic shit like how stealing is in fact bad. But you see, remember how I said before it is a completely godless, immoral community? It is. It is people that have no morals, none whatsoever. They're going to claim that they're coming from this emotional bullshit. Oh, families being torn apart. No, you can deport the whole family together. You don't need to tear anyone apart, honestly. But no, for real, these guys claim virtue and claim morality and ethics. They have no ethics. Stealing is fine. Remember, Hassan Piker, the largest leftist political streamer, by the way, he said looting is okay during violent riots because it's redistributing the wealth. No, dog, that's called stealing. It's called stealing, and stealing is immoral.
You can't afford shit anymore. Half the reason is because the government is out there constantly stealing your money and largely giving it to themselves. But while they do that, they throw a bunch of people crying in front of you who have made tons of irresponsible decisions and say,
this is why taxes is bullshit. Jacking up taxes and implementing socialism. Think about how much money the government wastes. And then they say we need to socialize more shit so you can pay more money. Dog, you know how much of that shit's gonna go in the garbage, right?
Can't you just have some compassion? No, I don't have compassion for people who have made bad decision after bad decision. Refuse.
Empathy for the cruel is cruelty to the innocent. Absolutely zero empathy. Sorry, and you can cancel me on Twitter all the time with your fake empathy like machines. Oh, a tweet with 100,000 likes saying that we should kill Nux because he thinks that we should deport illegal immigrants. I don't care. I don't care about 100,000 retards that are spending their day on Twitter.
To change and then use that as an excuse to rob me. Now, I do care about people who are suffering with genuine disabilities, and I think those are an exception to the rule. However, it is uncanny how much money these people in the government are stealing from you, while at the same time they use poor people or illegals as human shields to prevent anyone from criticizing them.
Literally true.
Here's a video of some on-the-ground reporting.
That's why you even have people like Asmongold, by the way. Asmongold is a progressive guy. All right, he's not some right-wing guy. Asmongold supports deporting illegal immigrants, but Asmongold also believes in universal health care. He is a guy that would have voted for Bernie Sanders, but also goes against everything that the modern Democratic Party actually believes in. You know why? Because he actually thinks for himself. He doesn't just follow the grift. That is literally it. That is literally it. Now, the thing is, I am a lot more right-wing than Asmongold is. I don't believe in just magic universal income healthcare. I don't, personally. I think that it incentivizes people to be lazy, and I don't think that's healthy for society. However, there's a reason why Bernie Sanders' initials are BS.
The oligarchy is controlling everybody. We need to make everyone pay more taxes so that I can buy a 7th house. Having 6 houses isn't enough.
Of New York giving free housing to illegals.
I am just a simple, innocent, multi-millionaire grift, the socialist Democrat. I'm a simple man that's trying my hardest to make another couple $1 million while I make believe that I'm fighting for healthcare and poor people. Hell yeah, dude.
You know, here's a clip from Joe Rogan just had him on, and this was great.
You're a billionaire. You have now the constitutional right, because your money is your freedom of expression, right? So you don't like Bernie Sanders? You can put millions or hundreds of millions of dollars into a campaign and express your view about how terrible Bernie Sanders is, and you can buy that election, right? That's your constitutional right.
Right.
I think that's probably the worst decision.
This is coming from a guy worth tens of millions of dollars.
The Supreme Court has ever made. So what is the result of that decision? The result of that decision, let's take us to where we are today, is that Elon Musk, and I know Elon was on your show, and he's here in Austin, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And we could talk about Elon, but he spent $270 million to elect Trump as president. Okay. I think that's absurd that any one person...
What's the most someone donated towards the Harris campaign?
Uh-oh.
They spent a lot of money on Harris as well.
In fact, not only a lot, but apparently they spent 4 times the amount of money on Kamala Harris than they did on Trump.
$5 billion over the course of a couple of months.
You got it. All right, let me talk about it. So I'm not here just to say it's a Republican.
But my billionaire is good. Your billionaire is bad. I want to make this very clear here. I want to make this incredibly clear. Your billionaires, they're the bad billionaires. So, because they donate billions of dollars to Donald Trump. Fascism, authority, oligarchy, buzzword, oligarchy, buzzword. But my billionaires, they're voting for democracy and socialism, which is so much better. You see, I appreciate my billionaires. I am a simple multi-millionaire communist that has 3 houses. Okay, don't bother me. I'm just a simple radical multi-billionaire communist that's just working a simple life, trying to give rights to other people. from my 3 mansions that I have.
In New York City, one of the most expensive places to live in America.
Hey Nux, if you're given $1 billion somehow, what would you do with it? Oh, simple. I would give $200 million to charity, because I give 20% of everything that I make. 20% goes to different charities or poor families and stuff like that. That is what I would do immediately. 20% goes off, and the other $800 million would go to me. Yes, me. Crazy, huh? Support my family. Yeah, that's what I would do with that. I'd buy multiple pieces of real estate, and I'd support my family. That's what I would do with the other $800 million.
America.
We're in uptown New York City, right next to all these brownstone homes that cost millions of dollars. And this 10-story high shelter is housing thousands of migrants for completely free. What do you think about all the migrants that are getting the free food? They get it.
Migrants with free rent. Remember, nothing in this world is free. If it's free, you are the product. Migrants living in free housing doesn't mean that it's free. It just means that I am paying for it.
Free time here in New York City while you guys have to pay for your rent and everything like that. Does that make you upset?
Also, this girl is 70% naked. Not relevant, but important to note.
Yeah, honestly, that's not fair for me. It is not fair at all.
Yeah, because once you think about it for a second, it's not fair.
Oh, we all live here. We all gotta work. We all gotta get out. So they should do the same shit, you feel me?
And that's not even...
Yeah, we feel you. That's what everyone feels if they think for a half a second, but no one thinks. No one thinks. Remember, if you're against illegal immigrants, then you have no empathy. You have no empathy, bro. Literally, that's important to note. Dog, do you recognize the bullshit that's happening in the media? It's like, if you don't go for the illegal immigrants, then you have no empathy. But if you do go for the illegal immigrants, then you are the good guy. You are on the side of justice.
Even the worst of it. You see,
look, think about all the billionaires that are talking about how you have to have empathy for poor people.
A lot of these places that are housing illegals were
I have no empathy for this, by the way. I want to make this very clear. I have morals. I have virtues. I stand by them. I don't give a flying shit. I don't give a single hairy goat about your bullshit. Okay? I don't care. No empathy.
Basically just hotels going bankrupt because they couldn't get enough customers. So now the government is paying them for every night illegal stay there.
Great. Hell yeah. Where's the government getting that money? Oh, from me.
Interesting to know that many of the hotels housing migrants inside New York.
That's definitely New York, by the way.
Paying them for every night illegal stay there.
It's interesting.
Yeah, this is definitely. You know how I know it's New York? There is no other place in America that has moist self-storage. Okay, that can only exist in New York.
To know that many of the hotels housing migrants inside New York were once on the
Of course, see, I told you it's New York.
Brink of bankruptcy before they turned into migrant shelters.
Millions of dollars. Hotels making millions of dollars from the government to give free lodging to illegal immigrants. That's right. Think about it, guys. Illegal immigrants are living in better housing than you are. All right? And you know who's paying for their housing? You are. You are paying for the housing of these people. Okay? And remember when they wanted to deport these people, they light your cities on fire. You on the same page? They light your cities on fire when you want to deport people that should not be here that are stealing your money. All right, happy? This is fucking terrorism.
So if you're a businessman, why wouldn't you turn your hotel into a migrant shelter, especially if your company can make an extra $10.5 million in pure profit?
Look at that!
So this is literally a corrupt business wealth transfer, and it's not the only example of it being done. In fact, a lot of taxpayer money is stolen this way.
Good shit.
A great book called The Dictator's Handbook outlines a number of foreign aid scams where politicians are like, here's $20 million of foreign aid to help farms in Haiti, but they can only spend the money on John Deere tractors.
Yes, sir.
This is rich people preying on the...
By the way, that's where most of the foreign aid that America does goes, right? You have to realize, I think they did the math, that there are 7 different in-between companies before the foreign aid actually reaches somebody. So apparently, America sends, let's say, $1 million, and it goes to middleman, and then middleman, and then middleman, and then middleman, and by the time it actually reaches Haiti, only about $100,000 made it to Haiti. So is that not insane? Is that not crazy? The answer is it is crazy, obviously. But even more importantly, that's how it is everywhere. Like even the money that America gives Israel, Israel uses it to purchase American weapons and stuff. But it's like that everywhere. It's like that everywhere. It's the rich get richer. Every war, someone makes money off some wars.
A pathological kindness of some Americans and preying on their lack of ability to research where their money is going. And like I said, this is not that uncommon. Even better, these air quote compassionate, useful idiots love to talk down to you as they try to force you to take experimental medical procedures or be ostracized from society.
America, if you can hear my voice, clap once. If you can hear my voice, clap twice. Do you know why I am here today, my friends? Those of you who are unvaccinated, you are not welcome to play with the vaccinated friends
That's crazy, dude.
anymore. I know. And you know why that is? Because they don't want to die. That's right. They do not want to die. So here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, that's not fascism. Absolutely.
You're gonna get a really cool card and you can laminate it. And you're gonna show it to private businesses and hospitals and schools to get inside. Does that sound good?
No, that doesn't sound good.
No, that sounds like fascism. That sounds like fascism. Sorry. Because it turns out the left is an authoritarian fascist regime that is employing terrorist tactics. They are the crazy thing is they are literally utilizing like the classic like radical Islamist extremist strategies. Like, you look at Iran, okay? Iran is a good metric. They're a tyrannical fascist government that employs terrorism to get what they want. That goes around the law. That is literally what happened to the modern left in America.
Sounds a lot like fascism. That sounds like authoritarianism, and it sounds like you're saying that I should be forced to inject some barely tested mystery fluid into my body that's not even that effective because you don't want to deal with your anxiety issues. True. This is not just lacking in compassion for others.
That is no compassion because these are immoral people. I think this is fundamentally what needs to be said as often as it can be said. These are immoral people. They claim that they're fighting from a place of ethics. Oh, the poor illegal immigrant. Oh, we have to rise up and burn our city down because there's a war in the Middle East that we're not going to be, that we have nothing to do with, that we're definitely going to make the number one most important part of our life. Dog, the new mayor of New York City was elected because of his views on Palestine. How? That's retarded, bro. That's insanity. What are you talking about? Oh, yes, we need to elect a New York mayor who's going to fuck our entire city because of Palestine. Do you see how insane this is? Like, these are retards, thoughtless retards that claim that they're fighting from a place of ethics. They have no morals.
What she's saying should happen is genuinely evil. And we all had to hear this shit for multiple years as big tech memory hold any criticism. But all of these radicalized beliefs didn't just spark out of nowhere. They've been pushed for many years by the media and colleges, with more classical examples like this clip of Maxine Waters telling people who were already looting businesses, setting everything on fire, beating people up, and sometimes killing people. She was telling these people to get more confrontational if they didn't get the verdict they wanted for the George Floyd Derek Chauvin trial.
That is what they call terrorism. That's terrorism. Yes, I'm glad that I'm going to start using this word. I think that you should too. We need to globalize the use of the word terrorism, in my opinion.
We're going to get a verdict that is say guilty, guilty, guilty. And if we don't, we cannot go away.
Oh, good. We get a verdict like the way we want, and if the verdict is not what we want, we need to ruin the city. What's that? That's called terrorism. Yuppo.
We've got to get...
Dude, it's crazy. It's so wild watching this happening in my country, bro. It's crazy, bro. It's insane. It's like I got family in Israel dealing with terrorism, and here we are in America dealing with terrorism.
More confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business.
Why is this chick not in prison for saying that?
Great question. Really, really good question. And it's because a lot of the judicial branch in America is controlled by terrorists. Yep, that's it. You got it. Absolutely. Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah, dude. Because the terrorists are in power in America. So it's not just that there are terrorists running around the streets, lighting shit on fire, advocating for crimes and assassination of the president, but a lot of the people that are supposedly enforcing laws are also part of terrorist organizations. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I really hope that we can find a way to fix this shit, but it's crazy.
Oh, but she didn't say go be violent. I don't care. Everyone knows what she meant. She's literally telling rioters to go riot more, and that is not protected speech, that's terrorism. Like I said, this is not new, and it's ongoing with the younger generations on Twitch, where you have one of the largest creators actively promoting multiple terrorist groups.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about our favorite flags.
What's our favorite flag? Oh, Hezbollah.
Oh, like overall, what my favorite flag?
Yeah.
Hezbollah.
Hezbollah. That's my favorite flag.
Look it up.
Oh.
I'm not even kidding. It's actually...
Yeah, you know what his favorite thing about Hezbollah is? It's the execution of gay people. That really turns him on. It's the contribution to the 600,000 deaths in Syria that he gets excited about. By the way, the guy that made this video, Think Before You Sleep, of course I'll link him in the description, he messaged me for, he messaged me about the Hassan segment, and he was like, all right, I need to understand, how bad are these terrorist organizations? And I'm like, bad.
Actually a dope flag.
I don't know flags.
It's this is a.
You know what? I'm gonna be brave. My favorite flag.
It's got an AK on it and a fucking hand holding it up.
Wow, son.
Yeah, look at how bad this is. Also a shitty flag. Like, this is not a cool flag. He just supports the organization.
Or
we might have to cut this.
We're behind the paywall. It's fine.
Yeah, sick terrorist flag, dude. Isn't
Yeah,
it so
terrorism based. Yeah.
cool? This is basically like Hassan saying that Hitler is his favorite political leader.
My favorite flag? Oh, I have to show you my favorite flag, guys. This is my favorite flag. All right, you're asking me about, this is purely about the flag, right? This is purely about the flag. Can I show you my favorite flag? Dude, check this out. This is my favorite flag. Oh, it's just, dude. Oh, look how fucking based this flag is. It's like, oh, shit, yeah, dude. Oh, it's my favorite flag. Well, I'm not talking about the ideology, obviously. The flag. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, dude, the way it's just, oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. It's my favorite flag. Yeah, definitely not, that's gonna get clipped. I don't care. You don't understand. Nothing affects me. I am immune. I am immune to cancellation. Retards on Twitter have no power here. They have no power here. None. Zero. I have zero fear of these people anymore. I just say what I think. I make the jokes I want to say every single time. I don't care. I do not care. I am immune.
And I mean, geez, you can visibly see how immediately uncomfortable his statement makes everyone in the room.
Yeah, because this guy's gay. Of course he's uncomfortable. He's supporting a terrorist organization that executes gay people.
As he promotes a Muslim terrorist group in front of a gay guy and a pride flag.
Does he know what One Piece is?
Luffy.
Luffy?
Yeah, he said he's been watching it since he was a kid.
No way, dude!
We think the Houthis, Ansar Allah, is doing what Luffy would do.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of people have said that this guy wasn't actually a Houthi, but whether
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he's a Houthi or not. Hassan is out there just supporting Houthi terrorists. You know, the one that used child sex slaves.
He was a Houthi terrorist or not is beside the point, because the reason that Hassan interviewed him is because he thought he was a Houthi.
Bro, are we about to have a Houthi rebel on stream? Yes, brother.
The Houthis have child slave soldiers and child sex slaves. Did you know that there are 4 million children married to pedophiles in Yemen right now? True. And Hassan supports that regime?
I believe...
All true, yes. All true. Blue guy was spitting facts. Thanks for the feature. Yeah, blue guy was spitting.
What the Houthis are doing is a good thing. 10 toes fucking down. They are on the morally right side.
But
dude, wait, hold on. When Think Before You Sleep messaged me, hold on, I need to find this message because that's hilarious. Holy shit. This is crazy. So he messaged me. Are there really 4 million child marriages? Holy shit. I said, yes. They use child soldiers, and Hassan 10 toes down supports them. And he messaged me back, it would be a shame if someone clipped you saying they are pedophiles, and then clipped Hassan saying that he 10 toes down supports them. And this is the result.
Bro, are we about to have a Houthi rebel on stream? Yes, brother.
The Houthis have child slave soldiers and child sex slaves. Did you know that there are 4 million children married to pedophiles in Yemen right now? And Hassan supports that regime?
I believe what the Houthis are doing is a good thing. 10 toes fucking down. They are on the morally right side.
But
yeah, again, godless, immoral people. That is who we're dealing with here. Literally, terrorism on the left is insane.
Hassan is not the only person who is spreading radicalism on Twitch. He literally has an entire friend group helping him promote terrorism in multiple ways. Like Sean DeBlack telling someone to murder Destiny.
Yep.
Denham's offering to pay someone to kill Mark Kern for $30,000, as well as Mike from PA putting a $100,000 hit on Ethan Klein. Keep in mind that this is straight up criminal behavior. They should be serving jail time for encouraging their radicalized followers to kill people.
Absolutely.
Yet they don't even so much as get a warning from Twitch.
By the way, I feel like this is despicable shit. It really is. Like, I think absolutely the government needs to put these people away. Like, for real. Honestly, these people need to get fucking punished, or it just gets worse. I don't know. Like, these are crimes. They're actively broadcasting their crimes to tens of thousands of people. It is ridiculous. It's insane.
Twitch for doing this. However, Twitch will ban you if you call someone fat or call a prostitute a prostitute.
That's
true. So I want to let you
Oh!
know this. This is the same website where Hassan calls me a rapist, Asmongold a pedophile, and a mother killer. Bringing up Asmongold's dead mother, no ban.
I mean, look, all of those people, they go out there, they call me a pedophile. And then they try to get people to kill people, and they get no punishment.
I call an OnlyFans girl a whore after she called me a rapist. A career-ending, life-ending accusation. They get no punishment. I get 7 days.
People are getting quite tired of the double standards and the two-tiered system of rules. It's not just Twitch allowing.
It's not just Twitch. It's all of America. It's American society
allowing this, though. YouTube does it too.
It's not just Twitch. It's not just YouTube. It is actually American society. Literally, it is all of society. You get kicked out of college if you say something like this. If you're Islamophobic in college, they're gonna kick you out. Dog, forget that. If you're Islamophobic in the UK, you go to jail. Literally. There was a case that happened in England where there was a lady who was raped by a Muslim man, an immigrant, and she became Islamophobic, and she said some negative things about the rapist. She was in prison for longer than the man that raped her, okay? You will never make that make sense.
Another of Hassan's groupies, Noah Sampson, has been using his YouTube channel to promote racism and terrorism as well.
No, I think this guy also needs to go to jail for sure. He promotes terrorism all the time.
The vast majority of the Israeli public supports this genocide. This should come as no surprise given Israel's history. A country that exists on the logic of ethnic supremacy and colonization requires a certain level of dehumanization to keep its inhabitants from collapsing under the weight of the reality of their rotten society. Simply put, it's a genocidal society, top to bottom.
Alright, so he's just out there advocating to kill everyone, every Jew in Israel. Cool.
Reiterate that Noah said that effectively all Jews in Israel are evil Israeli Defense Force supporting Zionists, which is not true. There are tons of Jews in Israel who don't support what the IDF is doing. But because Noah is either stupid or more likely a liar, he uses a survey that only polled 600 people to describe a Jewish population of over 7 million.
Bro, there's no fucking way. He came up with these numbers based off a sample of 600 people in the aftermath of October 7th. Are you fucking retarded? This is crazy.
And say that basically all Jews in Israel want Palestinians dead. This is
Yeah, this isn't true. This is crazy. It's insane.
Massive research fumble. That is a really low population size, especially considering that Noah essentially is...
And also, it's really important to note other things, bro. It's really important to note other things. Like, for example, this was done right after October 7th. Okay? Like, this was done literally right after October 7th, where terrorists came in, murdered 1,200 people, unprovoked, by the way, completely unprovoked. They try to rationalize October 7th. They come in unprovoked, they murder 1,200 people, they rape hundreds of women, and they kidnap hundreds of people that they torture in dungeons under Gaza. And by the way, let me remind you, when they did this, I know that it's Hamas that did it largely, but there were mass celebrations of this in Gaza, okay? People don't like talking about this, but the Palestinian civilians in Gaza celebrated that happening, okay? Now, this obviously doesn't say, I'm not saying that I want everyone that celebrated this to get killed. That is a whole ass other story, but there were celebrations of this. The day after this happened, okay? The day after this happened, they took polls of Israelis, and Israelis said they wanted to see them dead, okay? Now, I'm not saying that I want to see every single person die in Gaza. Obviously, that's horrible. However, if you would have asked me on October 8th, I don't know what my answer would have been. Honestly, right after you see this happen, people come in, rape and murder people, everyone's celebrating this. Dude, you have to realize they killed enough people that every single person I know in Israel has lost family over the course of this conflict. Every single person. They have, because I've lost family. I'm sure other people did too. When you see that happen, and you take a poll literally the day after, you are obviously trying to lump people in to a disgusting group and use it to fuel your genocidal rhetoric against Jewish people. It's like, it's asking someone the day after 9/11 in America. It's like, thoughts on Muslims that celebrated 9/11? Because this isn't just thoughts on Muslims in general. It's thoughts on Muslims that directly celebrated 9/11. Because you have to realize, that's what we're talking about. Sorry to cook a little too hard, but that is directly what he's using as propaganda for his shit.
Is using that number to say that it would be moral to exterminate almost all of the Jewish population in Israel, including civilians and including children, because they're all rotten, colonizing, genocidal racists.
That's what he said.
There's a bunch of other mistakes in Noah's research, and it's suffice to say that a very common tactic of radical leftists like Noah is to weaponize terrible research to trick people into believing things that are not true. They do this almost constantly.
And they do it on purpose, too. This is another thing that's incredibly clear. Incredibly clear. They actively and purposefully lie. All right? Because you have to realize, Noah Samsen supports October 7th. He doesn't just oppose the Israeli government that's, killing Palestinians. He directly supported the catalyst to this war. He supports the terrorist atrocities that are committed to. Like, there are two types of leftists, all right? You got one type of person that says Israel's going too far. And then you got the other type of person that directly supports the terrorism, which is not surprising, because the far left in America is a terrorist organization right now.
But more importantly, since we're talking about YouTube rules, let me just note that what Noah said in that last clip is very much a violation of YouTube's policies. And if you don't think so, then replace the word Jew with black person.
Oh, Lord, oh, God. Could you imagine saying that all black people in America are violent, racist people and should all be killed? Like, could you imagine if you would say something like that? That would not fly. Yeah, absolutely not.
And watch his channel disappear. Noah Samsen has actually violated the YouTube rules a bunch. In his follow-up video, the genocide-supporting YouTubers responded. After calling Ethan Klein and Mudahar propagandists, he tells his followers to commit terrorist acts by causing damage to the supply chains, as well as violently attack politicians and propagandists who disagree with his viewpoint.
We are living in the belly of the beast. We have direct geographical, physical access to the politicians, the propagandists, the weapons companies, and the supply chains that are facilitating this genocide.
I saw this clip before. Yeah, we literally have direct physical access to propagandists and politicians. What do you mean by that, sir?
Protesting is great. We should keep doing that. But also, I feel like we have to be honest with ourselves. 17 months in, and what is protesting actually accomplished?
Protesting isn't enough.
Really, politically, materially, nothing. If we want this genocide to stop, it's time to escalate. That's all I'm saying.
So escalate from protesting with physical access to politicians and propagandists. That's terrorism. That is a call to terrorism.
Here's the policy that Noah violated on YouTube. Obviously, you're not allowed to promote terrorism or violent acts. And for those of you who would point out that he removed this clip from the video...
Doesn't matter.
I would just like to say that YouTube saves a copy of the original video when you make edits.
Yeah, I reacted to something once and uploaded it to YouTube privately. I didn't even make it public on YouTube. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot to censor something. I took down the video while it was still private, and I got a community guideline strike for the video after it was removed from YouTube, which was never made public. Okay? So, sorry, bro.
And removing content or deleting videos does not remove your liability for breaking the rules in the eyes of YouTube. Last, Noah Samsen does this massive live stream series where he interviews that guy Hassan Piker initially told everyone was a Houthi.
Nice.
And towards the end of that interview, Noah says this.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to say about how I feel about the Houthis without the FBI arresting me, but I would say this motion and this motion and free Palestine from the river to the sea. Dude, I love that kid.
Great. Yeah, that's my goat. Yeah, absolutely. Just these motions that say that, yeah, I support terrorists. Remember, the Houthis are a American-designated terrorist organization that have killed Americans and that have, by the way, let me just remind you, kidnapped Filipinos and that use child sex slaves, okay?
In an extreme case of irony, this moment actually occurs at 9 hours and 11.
This is actually kind of funny. This is a very ironic screenshot. This might be one of the most ironic screenshots I've ever seen. You see, not only did it happen at 9 hours and 11 minutes into the video, but also he raised $377,000, which is the approximately the same amount of people in Yemen that were killed, thanks to the Houthis. So this is really funny, because around 377,000 people were killed in Yemen thanks to Houthis. Very cool.
Minutes into the stream, but it is very much against YouTube rules because the Houthis are designated as a terrorist organization and you're not allowed to promote terrorism on YouTube.
Yeah.
This is what pisses everyone off.
No shit.
For years on Big Tech,
the double standard is fucking crazy.
If you had any opinion that was slightly right of Karl Marx, you could get banned for sneezing in the wrong direction. Yet people like Hassan or Noah Samsen can violate the rules numerous times and their channels are perfectly fine.
True.
And speaking of the consistent promotion of terrorism from these types, over the past few weeks, we've seen some of the consequences of that.
Bro, it's fucking wild shit. You know, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of funny that he's using these screenshots. I think this is Israel. Like, he's just using, like, random background scenery, but I'm pretty sure this is Israel. Wait, hold up. Wait, hold up. We gotta reverse image search this bitch immediately. Wait, stop. That's too crazy. Wait, no. That's insane. There's no way just using random Israeli images at the same time. Wait, hold up. Hold up. We're gonna reverse image search this immediately. It's Israel. I was right. Old city in Jerusalem. Look at that. Look at that. Look at your boy knowing his geography. Huh? Look at that. What am I talking about? Look at that.
From these types. Over the past few weeks, we've seen some of the consequences of that. The start of this was a person named Elias Rodriguez who randomly shot 2 Jewish people who practiced Christianity and were working at the Israeli embassy. Now, do we have any evidence that this couple was harming anyone before some terrorist decided to execute them? Or do these radicals see it fit to just...
Obviously not. They just executed 2 Jewish people in 2 Jewish Christians, by the way, in Washington, D.C. Terrorists, baby.
Randomly commit murder because someone happens to be in a particular group.
Let's go. Pro-peace activists going to execute random Jewish people in D.C.
What happened to due process? And I mentioned that...
they don't care about due process. It was never about due process. These people don't care about laws. That's why it's so frustrating. I think a lot of people, and I want more people to recognize this. You have people on the left that'll scream things like, I can't believe Trump would illegally bomb Iran, even though Obama did that 26,000 times, you know. And then you'll have people say that, oh my God, I can't believe that they're deporting illegal immigrants without due process. Well, in my opinion, if you find out they're illegal, then that is as much due process as is required. But they'll claim that, no, they also need all sorts of due process. They don't care about laws. They're burning cities down. They're looting stores. They're promoting terrorism. Laws don't matter to these people. They support Luigi Mangione, who'll just execute a healthcare CEO. They'll support a fucking terrorist in Washington, D.C. that'll shoot 2 Jewish guys. Like, are you retarded? Like, they don't care about the law. They're terrorists.
Term due process because recently it's become a buzzword for leftists and the Bill of Rights has magically become important to them after all these years now that it's politically convenient for reasons that we'll get into later. But when people like Noah Samson, the king of grandstanding about audience responsibility, say stuff like, we have access to the politicians and we have access to the propagandists.
Yeah, I wonder what that means.
It's time to escalate.
By the way, he calls people like me propagandists, okay? Because I am, according to him, a genocide supporter. So you have to understand, when he says you have access to the propagandists, we need to escalate, he is calling for physical violence on me.
It encourages people to commit violence. And of course, terrorists supporting Hassan Piker runs to this event with damage control by calling it a false flag.
I'm not Mr. False Flag at all, but crazy. Like every single thing that he did in the aftermath of the shooting is so fucking crazy that it's like you could not have fucking designed a incident like this. You could not have designed a better false flag incident like this. I'm not saying it is a false flag incident at all. I'm not.
Yeah, for the record, he's trying to plant the seed in people's minds that this is a false flag. I mean, like, look at his chat. Look at his chat. Every single one. It's suspicious. This whole thing is suspicious. It's weird. Weird timing. It's a psyop. Absolutely. Literal false flag. So even though he's going to say that, oh, I'm not saying it's a false flag, he's delivering that message to his entire audience.
Not saying that.
Now, guys.
And by the way, for the record, what false flag means in this situation is Israel killed their own people to get people to be sympathetic to Israel. That's what he's implying.
I'm not saying that it's a false flag, but basically it's a false flag. Great argument, Hassan. Great way to get your audience to believe it's a false flag without the liability of directly saying that it's a false flag. Shortly after those Jewish people got shot, on June 1st, an Egyptian person who was living in the U.S. illegally threw a Molotov cocktail into a crowd of people who were doing a peaceful march in support of Israeli hostages, and he injured 15 of the marchers.
Let me remind you, there are still, to this day, Israeli hostages in dungeons in Gaza. Let me just remind you, okay? To this day, there are still Israeli hostages in dungeons in Gaza, okay? This is still an ongoing thing. Not that people know about that.
Speaking of illegals, and one of the biggest reasons why people voted for Trump, let's talk about the LA riots. The mostly peaceful protests.
Yes.
Demonstrations have been going on right outside the federal detention center.
Yeah, this is terrorism, bro.
Most of those demonstrators were very peaceful. They were chanting, they were shouting. People were driving by, honking their horns. And again, they were expressing their anger about the detention of so many immigrants at the...
Again, my bad. Fiery, but mostly peaceful.
Yep.
Mostly peaceful protests where people are
Mostly peaceful protests. Listen, Iran was just developing mostly peaceful weapons of mass destruction. Nothing to look at here.
Fully masked so you can't see their faces, and they're attacking reporters.
Hey.
Let's go! Attacking mostly peaceful, attacking reporters.
Fuck out of here! I know you.
Overwhelmingly peaceful, according to some news outlets.
Dude, you white nationalist. How? This is our land, you fucking bitch. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Dude, I have every right to be here. I don't give a fuck. Not today. I'm the fucking police. I'm telling you not to be here, motherfucker. Well, I want to be here. Well, I'm fucking telling you not to be here.
Yes, that was the report.
Let's go! Mostly peaceful, baby. Mostly peaceful.
From before. But I love how they don't see the irony of trying to force him to leave a place that he wants to stay in.
While they're illegally in the place that they're in.
At the same time, they're protesting the idea that the government shouldn't be allowed to force illegals to leave a place they want to stay in. They actually do this
Zero morals, zero integrity. It's a terrorist organization. We need to label it that way.
to him again in New York City.
Hey, I can be here, sir. I have to leave. Nope.
You think that you're welcome in this space? All these people were telling you to leave? This is a white kind of privilege. Yo, you're evil.
A white girl told him that it's white privilege to be in a place that he could legally be while she is defending people that are illegally in the country.
These idiots never fail to step all over their morals the second they become inconvenient.
What morals?
And speaking of that,
if they wouldn't have double standards, they'd have no standards at all.
rioters are also looting stores that appear to be owned by Mexicans. And if
good shit. Hell yeah. That's really showing the government.
Think that's ironic? It's not, because BLM did the same shit to black businesses back in 2020. This is just what they do. They're also damaging
terrorists
in property, so they have projectiles to mostly peacefully throw stuff at cars.
That's terrorism.
Obviously, I can't show the more violent stuff because YouTube, but you can have fun watching that on Twitter. Fortunately, they found this guy here who was throwing rocks at every vehicle that passed by. Not to mention that person who threw a brick from the top of a bridge and hit a cop in the head, which...
Yeah, they need to fucking... they need to put these guys away for terrorism. I don't know, man.
Could have killed him if he wasn't wearing a helmet. These people are just begging for the police to use deadly force against them. And last, the mostly peaceful protesters are mobbing cars like a horde of zombies.
You might think that this is a screenshot from Grand Theft Auto 6.
True.
It's actually not.
No.
It's LA.
It's terrorists in LA.
Today.
Now, why are these people rioting? I'm sorry, I mean, why is there a mostly peaceful protest with buildings and cars being set on fire? Well, it's because the Trump administration decided to start enforcing the border policy, which is something that Americans have been requesting for decades. So in response, a bunch of almost peaceful people are violently rioting to obstruct deportation raids.
That's it, baby.
Because of this, the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass,
more like Karen Ass,
went onto the news to tell everyone that people wouldn't be rioting if Trump simply stopped trying to enforce the U.S. law.
True! Great argument. You see, the only reason why people are blowing up the fucking city is because Trump is enforcing the laws.
Well, I just have...
that, the Americans voted for.
...to say that if you dial back time and go to Friday, if immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder that went on last night. I will tell you that it is peaceful now, but we do not know where and when the next raids will be.
God damn. It's crazy. The raids are just deporting illegal people, right? Dude, I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. I love America so much. But imagine getting a president that's like a radical leftist. Imagine a radical leftist becoming the next president. Because Biden, whatever you want to say about him, he might not have existed, but he was at least center-left. Imagine getting a radical leftist in power. Dog. If that happens, I don't know, man. I'm leaving. I'm out. Oh, God. I don't even know, man. It's crazy.
That is the concern, because people in the city have a rapid response network. If they see ICE, they go out and they protest. And so it's just a recipe for pandemonium that is completely unnecessary.
Yeah, you're advocating for terrorism, bro. Dude, can you imagine getting a terrorist president? Holy shit. It's crazy to think about. Like, if an AOC type person wins, oh, Lord.
Nothing was happening here. Los Angeles was peaceful before Friday.
And these mostly peaceful protests aren't just in LA. They're in multiple areas across America. And guess who decided to show his face in the safest part of the LA riots?
Is it Hassan, Diddy, Epstein, Bin Laden, Adolf Piker?
It's Twitch's second most popular political streamer, Hassan Piker.
There he is. Look at him. Look at that fucking soy-ass bitch. Look at that fake-ass LA gay Muslim. Hell yeah, dude. Look at him. Look at him. He's known for having sex with almost adults. Allegedly, of course. Almost peaceful sex with almost sex-trafficked women.
He must be having so much fun. Look at that soy face. Hassan showed up to support terrorism like usual, help block traffic, which is a crime, by the way, and to openly admit that a number of the rioters are people who watch his channel.
Yeah, that was it's crazy that he admitted this, dude.
No wonder there's so many federal agents in my fucking chat, dude. It's like half of the protest is Hassan Abias.
half of the terrorists at this protest are literally my fans. Yeah, we know. You radicalize people to become terrorists.
What's up? I've been watching you for years. Love you. Can I take a picture of you? Of course. Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you.
How is he not at least partially?
I love how you look in the background of this clip and it's like you just see smoke. Holy shit.
Of course. Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you.
How is he not at least partially responsible for these terrorist acts?
He should be. He should be! I'm telling you, man! Advocating for terrorism needs to be taken seriously. Like, this is a guy that's radicalizing hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions. Oh my God, it's insufferable. I want the government to do something about this so badly, and they need to, because this is the downfall of Western civilization, okay? It's this. If this isn't squashed, America's cooked, bro.
He goes onto social media and spends well over a year promoting terrorism, which again, is against Twitch's and YouTube's policy. He tells people multiple times to beat up or kill those he doesn't like, as recently as a few days ago, by the way. And
yeah, I was talking about this.
What a shock. People who support his values and watch his Twitch channel are out there rioting. But don't worry, because Hassan has spent most of this protest malding about how Asmongold is more famous than him.
Bro, he's out there. He's out there talking about me. Hopefully one day we'll see the largest political commentator, Asmongold, out here in the streets, you know, for protesting, for, I don't know, making... Okay, sure. I'll go with the National Guard to arrest everybody who's standing in the highway. Yeah, I think that sounds great.
More power to you.
Yeah, I still think that obviously the majority of America is normal and kind of wants America to succeed as a country. But you do have your terrorists out there. You do have your terrorists out there, and I think they need to be squashed. I think we need to bring back the Communism Act. A lot of people don't know this, but there is actually a law. There is a law that is still in place. It sounds like arresting people for freedom of speech, but it's still in effect right now. The Communist Control Act of 1954 is a law signed by President Dwight Eisenhower on August 24th, 1954. It is still in power right now, and you can arrest communists today. It is still in effect. And I think we need to start doing it. We need to start, we need to start fucking arresting communists. And Hassan is a communist. He absolutely is. He promotes communism. He every single opportunity he gets. I think we need to bring this shit back.
Arrest Twitch's second most popular political streamer along with them. And look at the reality of these riots. You have foreigners illegally crossing the border and waving their flag.
Yeah, that's terrorism. That's terrorism. That is people literally embracing an ideology that is against the government, destroying the country, waving the flag of a foreign nation. This is terrorism. This is a foreign terrorist organization.
As they assault American citizens. To me, this sounds a lot like a declaration of war. It sounds like a hostile invasion.
Damn!
No one loves Mexico.
He's right, though. It does sound like an actual hostile invasion.
Like the people who refuse.
And by the way, I don't think that Trump needs to send in the National Guard to, quell the riots. I think that these people need to go to jail. They need to be arrested and treated like terrorists. Not the peaceful ones, but the violent ones. I think they do. Otherwise, it's just basically inviting people to do more of this shit. Dude, they have Iranian flags!
To live there? Right.
You sorry sucking sons of a bitches that think that you're just gonna go and fucking arrest a bunch of protesters?
Dude, you literally have colored hair and a nose ring. No one is taking you seriously, and you're gonna die alone. I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm just telling you the reality. You are gonna have no children to take care of you when you're 60 and fat and dying. Sorry.
Protesters?
Well, the violent ones, yes. The ones setting cars on fire and throwing rocks at people? Yeah, arrest them and use force when necessary.
Agreed.
Now,
treat them like terrorists.
Before we continue, I just want to point out yet another example where purple hair and a nose ring
There's no way.
has accurately identified a crazy person.
They're out there doing something you're too afraid to fucking do. They're out there fighting for our freedom.
I'm not afraid of that. Afraid of doing what they're doing? Absolutely not.
And they're out there fighting for our right for free speech.
They're fighting for free speech by lighting shit on fire.
You, all 2,000 of you fucking National Guardsmen, you brave-ass fucking soldiers, you think you're gonna tell those people to shut the fuck?
Least lesbian crash out.
That is what you decided to fight for. You chose to defend us against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and you fucking failed.
Yeah, you are the enemy. You're the domestic enemy.
Like I said, people crossing the border without permission.
Least irrational liberal woman.
Violently attacking and looting American citizens and waving their country's flag sounds a lot like a foreign invasion. So by your definition, the National Guard is doing its job by defending us against foreign enemies.
True.
Actually, a huge portion of the rioters seem to be low-information dumbasses.
By the way, this is the truth everywhere. All right, this is the failure of democracy right here. You are witnessing the fatal flaw of democracy. You will have people that have no idea what they are fighting for. No clue what they're arguing about. None. This guy said it best.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
True! True!
This was Mexico. This is our turf.
This was Mexico. These people are such, like, actual So what? So colonizing is good now? Because you colonized this place a couple years ago, 150 years ago? Like, why are we doing this, man?
These motherfuckers. This was our land.
Oh my god, dude. Again, like, you gotta understand how retarded this is. And that's why it's dishonest. Like, none of these people actually have a bone of morality in their body. To the point that they are literally supporting the fucking conquistador imperialism. Like, what are you talking about?
All this is stolen. And what?
Stolen from who? From the Mexicans? You really? Why do you think Mexicans speak Spanish, bro? Why do you think Mexicans speak Spanish? Where did Spanish come from?
Illegal here.
This is our city.
Oh my god. They literally had to whip out the Concord characters.
And this was Mexico. You can't kick us out of the land that was ours.
I mean, that really depends on your genealogy and your perspective on history.
No one cares about any of that. The truth is irrelevant. It's all about the grift.
First of all, California was purchased by America after a border dispute. Really, it was the Spanish who conquered that territory before America bought it, so I guess you have to blame them for colonizing Mexico. But then you also have to consider that the native population actually helped the Spanish overthrow their leaders because those people were pretty evil. And there was a lot of race mixing going on there, so like, you speak Spanish, right? Well, that's not the native language of the land. Spanish is actually a European language. Plus,
from Spain.
Because of the race mixing, if you have Spanish blood, then you are also part colonizer. And last, the Native Americans or the indigenous populations were not peaceful, contrary to what a lot of these people would say.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something that's very controversial, but the Native Americans were like a very warring people. I know a couple of Native Americans. They're fucking awesome people. But the Native Americans that lived in the land here, like, before, America, like, they were warring people that would constantly war with each other. Not to say that, I don't feel bad for them, obviously, that they were killed and stuff. Obviously, sure, absolutely. But they probably also colonized each other's land. Dude, I don't think that there's a single group of people in the world that are actually in the same place that has never been colonized literally ever. That doesn't exist.
They were just as evil as those who conquered them. They would torture and kill each other.
I'm about to look something up. Wait, hold on. We're about to do some research. All right, hold on. I have the craziest fucking mind blast that you're about to hear. All right. How long was LA, Mexico? I'm about to hit you with some factoids. Not La Mexico. Wait. No, that's not what I wanted. How long was Los Angeles part of Mexico? All right, we'll do it that way. 27 years. So Los Angeles was part of Mexico for 27 years. Okay? Now they're claiming that people are colonizing Mexico, right? So it was 27 years. How long since the state of Israel was established? Just curious. 77 years. Interesting. All right. Okay. So let me get this straight. So America is colonizing Mexico, which by taking LA, which was 27 years, and this. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. How long were Jews living in Israel? All right, this is not. Oh God, never. Okay, all right. So apparently, while population numbers are varied, historical records confirm a Jewish presence in the regions for approximately 32 to 3,300 years. Tell me who the colonizers are! Anyway.
Each other and have wars over territory as well. The Spanish just had better weapons. A realistic view of history kind of makes everyone look like assholes. But more importantly, this all happened like 200 years ago, and you weren't alive then, so you didn't have jack shit stolen from you.
True.
Technically, if you're trying to invade America and violently overthrow the government...
They are invading America, trying to overthrow the government and claim this land as someone else's. Stop, bro! What are you talking about? You are terrorists!
make California Mexico again, then you are the colonizer. Though I have to say that nobody hates illegal aliens more than Mexicans who are legally in America.
By the way, this is so true. I have so many comments in my... Dude, I fucking love legal immigrant Mexicans. They are the most based fucking people out there. They are absolute mad lads. I love these guys.
Let me get this straight. You don't want to go back to Mexico. You're protesting to stay. But you're waving the Mexican flag and you're waving it with pride. You're waving it in the United States. You guys are an embarrassment to the Mexican culture and to the United States culture.
Oh, I love that guy. See, I'm telling you, bro, legal Mexicans are fucking awesome.
And of course, you have a bunch of violent radicals using children as human shields. Here's a Twitter account who's in favor of the riots posting an image that said,
oh, dude, I saw this. This is so infuriating.
LAPD tear gassed a baby.
Yeah, well, why was a baby at a violent riot, huh? This is like the people saying, oh my God, I can't believe that an innocent play school was destroyed in Gaza. Yes, it was a Hamas military base that they used to literally store weapons and missile launchers, but oh no, I can't believe you would bomb a school. Actual terrorism tactics. They are using terrorist strategy.
No, that's not what happened. What happened was that this idiot brought her child to a riot where people knew they were going to be tear gassed. You can even see protesters who brought items to defend against it.
Yes, sir. They went knowing that they would be tear gassed so that the baby could be tear gassed so they could post on social media. This is actually using children as human shields. This is using children as human shields. This is actual terrorism tactics.
What's the wind blower for?
Just for the fucking tear gas to blow it back at those motherfuckers. If you have a fucking blower, bring it up!
Well,
fucking crazy, dude.
Well, she may get some protection from the tear gas, but she certainly isn't defeating any stereotypes by running around with that leaf blower. But as for the chick who brought her toddler to a riot, she deserves an investigation from the CPS.
I agree.
This is incredibly irresponsible behavior.
I agree.
And I think it's disgusting when parents bring their kids to any protest, much less a place where tons of violence is occurring. And like I said, these riots have been happening in multiple cities, with these idiots even preventing cops from doing their normal job by obstructing the police from stopping drug traffickers in Minneapolis.
Chaos erupted in South Minneapolis as federal law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, ICE, DEA, and ATF, served high-risk search warrants related to drugs and money laundering at this Mexican restaurant on East Lake Street. Hundreds of protesters gathered, some clashing with law enforcement.
Good job, guys. Thank you for fighting for the terrorists and rapists and criminals. Good job.
Believing it was an ICE raid.
Personally, I think that if these people are told to
canceled for this shit. That's the wildest part.
Continue to obstruct the police, most Americans would have no problem with the police making an example of them with an arrest and using appropriate force, which includes lethal force, when it's necessary.
Regardless of what was taking place here, the fact that, you know, there are agents who are militarized, you know, they deployed tear gas on community members, whatever.
Not enough! Not enough!
Whatever was happening is completely unacceptable.
They have all that combat gear because they're trying to stop a bunch of drug traffickers, you moron. You know obstructing an arrest is a crime, right? If you don't want to get tear gas...
Dude, I don't know why we let these people off the hook. I don't know why we, as a country, let this off the hook. Like, holy shit.
And get the hell out of the way. And after all the stuff these assholes pulled in 2020, it's time for them to start seeing some actual consequences. Stop protecting criminals.
Like, I think we should bring out tasers. What do you think, guys? Tasers? Like, if these guys are violent, just tase them. Leave them on the ground and keep moving. What do you think? Just for a little bit. Optics? I don't care. What, are you... Optics? They're terrorists, man. Fuck, dude. All right, we need to see this from the beginning because this guy looks like he's having a real one.
Innocent fucking citizens being thrown into a goddamn war zone for the color of their skin!
Yeah, that's not happening.
National fucking Guard has been deployed in Los Angeles by Donald Trump
based
to suppress peaceful protest.
No, it's not.
Peaceful fucking protest.
Yeah, this is the guy that this is definitely the most normal person out there. Yes, absolutely.
That's not all.
He seems nice. He seems nice.
They're planning aggressive.
If I would see this guy in public, I would call the cops.
Device enforcement for 30.
Not because of racism, but because he's obviously having some sort of overwhelmingly peaceful mental breakdown.
Fucking days in LA. 30 days of terrorizing immigrant communities.
No, they're terrorizing America. What are you talking about?
Jeez, what the hell is with these people screaming all the time?
No, they're least unreasonable crash out I've seen all day.
These aren't peaceful protests, you liar. And if you aren't legally in the U.S., then you don't have the same rights as U.S. citizens.
True.
There's only enter the country legally or get the hell out.
I don't know why this is controversial. If you entered my house illegally, I would do my best to remove you from my house. Bro, holy soy jack, Batman. What the frick is this?
It's weird how most of the world operates like this, but it's only an issue when the US starts enforcing their border policies. And when I see tons of nut jobs like this crashing out on the internet multiple times a day, it's hard for me to believe how so many people thought that Trump was going to lose to Kamala Harris, who was one of the most unpopular political candidates.
Okay, so we're...
Oh, not her again! Oh, I've seen her months ago!
At almost 5 p.m. Eastern time, and I've been tracking everything that's been going on across the country today. I was talking to the guy in the store, of course. He asked me, why I was getting the champagne, and I said, because I'm going to be toasting Madam President tonight. And he just looked at me with kind of like a smirk on his face. And I said, she's going to win this, right?
Two things that didn't age well. This statement and this lady.
He said, oh, but the numbers are so close. I said, I'm a political analyst. I'm telling you right now.
Fake job, fake degree. Fuck you.
The numbers are there. She's taking this election. And then I said to him, you realize, and he didn't tell me who he voted for, but of course I knew. And I said, you do realize you wasted your vote, right? And I didn't care. I walked out with my bottle of champagne and happily walked home.
Oh, she really thought she's the main character. Yeah, cool. Oh, this is good. I like this, man.
God, she looks like a miserable person.
True, this is a person with no children, or if she has children, they hate her. She is currently being remembered by her cats, and she is living a very sad life that she is on the course of making it to the age of 80, where she could successfully die alone when no one cares about her. Now, I'm not saying this to be rude. I'm not trying to wish any badness on these people, but these are people who are actively trying to ruin their lives with the most degenerate, smug lifestyle possible, and they are deeply unhappy people. I am living my best life. I thank God every single day for him giving me such a wonderful life that I have, and people that I care about and that care about me. Thank you, God. And then I go and see these people, deeply unhappy people, trying to spread their unhappiness to the masses.
Now I get that there are many reasonable people out there who vote Democrat.
I think that there are reasonable Democrats out there, but I don't think that there are reasonable people that voted for Kamala Harris. I don't think that there are.
Voted against Trump more so because of character flaws that Trump has, or things he did that they didn't like, and not because they're mental patients. However, when you have tons of people...
Yeah, I could see reasonable people that don't like Trump, but I don't think that there are reasonable people that voted for Kamala Harris.
Social media representing your party who are this deranged, and you see mainstream Democrats and Twitch streamers catering to the most mentally ill people, then you're going to see a lot of those prior supporters of the left leave your party. Now, there are...
Yeah, I am praying that... I'm praying that we find a way to rid this terrorist cancer from the country. I really am hoping that's the case. Like, I pray to God that we could be strong enough and that God could help us with this shit. Because, to be honest, it's brutal. It is brutal looking at the modern left, the radical left, the terrorist left.
A lot of people criticizing the Trump administration by saying, where's the due process for illegals? I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know the exact legal limit of this, considering that stuff like Social Security cards were put into effect 150 years after the Bill of Rights was written. But from my perspective, they don't have the same rights as people who are legally residing in America, and this should be as simple as prove you have the right to be here or get deported. It's not that hard to show a passport, a visa, a green card, or proof of citizenship. There's no need to have a drawn-out trial for tens of millions of illegals who are currently in this country. I mean, certainly these mostly peaceful protesters should have no problem with people showing ID.
True.
Seeing how many leftists wanted
Obviously not, though. Obviously they don't want that. They don't care about laws. They don't care about democracy. They go out there and they scream that Trump is a fascist and he's a threat to democracy. They don't care about democracy. They don't care about a single thing that they go outside and yell for. None of this matters to any of them. None of it. We have to stop treating them like they're rational people that care about laws. They're not. They're terrorists. They're radical terrorists. Now, there are a lot of leftists out there. A lot of the leftists are center-left, and I think they're reasonable people. I really do. But I think these people are actually terrorists, and it's crazy.
You to carry a vaccine card everywhere. But outside of that, what I've noticed from the people on the left who are critical of the deportations is that they don't really seem to be criticizing the rioters, nor will they say reasonable things like, people who throw bricks at cops' heads should spend years in prison. Maybe at best they might mention that a little violence is occurring, but only after they've already pre-framed the event as a peaceful protest. Or they bring up a small mention of the violence, however they make sure to say, But look at all the peaceful protesters.
I mean, you know why they do this? They do this because they don't want to fracture their base. Like, they have to cater to the terrorists because whether they like it or not, a lot of the terrorists support them. Like, to kind of put a graph to this shit, okay? All right, this is the cuck to neo-Nazi pipeline. Pay no attention to that. But to kind of show you what I'm talking about here, like if this is the political spectrum, okay? This is the right over here, and this is the left. All right? If this is what we're talking about, and this is the center, okay? I think here you have 10% of people, all right, over here, and here you have this 10% over here, all right? So I think that, in my opinion, as it stands right now, these 10%, you'll get your neo-Nazis or whatever. The people that blame everything in existence on the Jews, and that think that, you know, white people are the superior race and deserve to be the king. All right, and over here, I think that this 10% are the, you know, Islamists, like the radical ones, the radical Islam, and terrorists. And in my opinion, that's the people on the far left. And right now, you have these 10% over here and these 10% over here. So if you have your average Democrat, which is probably somewhere around here, this is probably your average Democrat guy. If you have this dude, and this dude is trying his best to actually win some sort of vote in some way, this person knows that if he disavows the radical terrorists and radical Islamists in the country, then he knows that he is literally excising 10% of his voter base, all right? If he says these guys are bad, then he is literally losing 10% of his people immediately. So that is why your average Democrat is gonna need to sit there and say, oh yes, it's mostly peaceful, because he is trying to appeal to these guys. That is literally the issue. Literally. See, in my opinion, Trump is here. I don't even think Trump is far right at all. Like, literally not at all. But because you get all the people in the center, these guys, that could realistically be swayed either way, and they see this shit, they absolutely don't want to deal with any of that. So that's my opinion. All right, that's my opinion.
Yeah, well, look at all the rioters. This is a really consistent thing that the left has done for the past 10 years, which is to ignore all the violence and the straight-up terrorist acts that their side has committed. The fact that you assholes ignore every single Antifa riot, every BLM riot...
Yeah, that's all terrorism. That's all terrorism. And your people in the center see this and want nothing to do with it. See, Asmongold, I think, is a fantastic example. That's why I really like Asmongold's, like, political shit. Because I think Asmongold is a classic classic centrist, all right? Asmon, right? Asmongold, or Joe Rogan, okay? Joe Rogan. I think these are, like, classic center people that have swayed more towards Trump than towards the other side, because realistically, the left went fucking crazy. The left is a fucking terrorist organization, the far left. So I think realistically, your average Joes, pardon my pun, your average Joes, like these guys, are pretty center, but they are much more interested in what Trump is doing because they see this shit that's happening, and they see every single leftist candidate supporting it. Now, you have to remember, when Trump was running, Trump disavowed the neo-Nazis. He had the balls to disavow the 10% of his audience, and he lost votes because of it. People like Nick Fuentes refused to vote for Trump because he disavowed the neo-Nazis. Literally. So you have to understand how insane this is. The left refused to disavow their 10% retards, and the right actually did disavow their 10% retards. And that is why people like Joe Rogan or Asmongold, which are largely central people who were both Democrats, voted Trump. Because these guys are fucking horrible. Because the far left became a radical terrorist organization.
College campus rioters, anytime...
You have now achieved post-Nux clarity.
Someone on the right speaks, pro-Palestine rioters, people burning Teslas, all of the looting, and now the deportation riots. There have been a shitload of riots from the left, and when people bring them up, leftists say, but what about January 6th?
Dude, everything is January 6th. Everything is January 6th.
Oh, sure, a single day compared to over a decade of rioting.
Okay, dude, it's a single day, but also, like, whatever, I don't want to get into it, I don't care.
Seriously, fuck you guys. We aren't even including all the vast number of threats of violence coming from the left if things don't go their way politically. Were people on the right making video after video, crossing their fingers hoping someone would assassinate Biden and lamenting a failed attempt? No. The worst thing that the right did was chant, "Let's go Brandon," for a year or two.
What's it like seeing so many Republicans in Manhattan, so many Trump supporters in Manhattan? Does that surprise you?
No, not at all. It's turning now. Trump's turn again.
Oh, shit.
What's your message to Joe Biden?
By the way, these guys are great. It's the people that actually live in society and work for a living. They are the giga-chads in society. It's not the fucking posh Nepo babies that have a degree in lesbian tap dancing. Those guys are not living in reality.
Fuck you.
Effectively,
yeah!
all the political violence is coming from the left. And you dipshits that keep defending them by saying, look at all the peaceful protesters are the assholes.
And I know if you look at the...
Right, this is Atrioc. I don't know what he's going to say in this clip, but he's a leftist. He is very, very much a leftist. I would probably, based on what I've seen on him, I'd put him right here. Okay, I would literally put him right here as far as leftism goes. That is where I would put him. He is very leftist. All right, what do you say?
Most incendiary photos and videos of this protest, and you see some guy on the hood of a burning Waymo with a Mexican flag, you think, oh, that guy's a problem. And you know what? He is. Lock that guy up. I don't care. But
see, that's, I think, your average leftist. Your average leftist will say, yeah, lock that guy up. I don't care.
Understand that 99% of the people, more than that, 99.9% of the people at that protest are just trying to express a very human desire to stop getting fucked with.
Yeah, so, and then, of course, he doesn't want to, I think, you know, get that extra 10% of his people. He doesn't want to get them riled up against him, right? He needs his Hassan fans.
By ICE, dude. It's crazy. Now, again, I feel like you have to say this. I don't think people should loot. I don't think people should burn cars. But understand, just really understand how small a percent that is. Sure. And you can't ignore or write off the real demands of a lot more people because somebody in that group is going to be stupid.
Imagine.
Yeah, right, sure. So again, that's the guy that I'm telling you, this is the hand wave maneuver that they all need to do. They all somehow need to do this. The people here are going to admit, yes, rioting is bad, looting and rioting is obviously not good. But I love them, and they're just so real and human. Yes, we can't, the poor terrorists want to express themselves.
Imagine telling a girl that her husband is mostly a good guy because he only beats her 1% of the time. Actually, it's worse than that because this guy was like, hitting is wrong. I disavow that, but come on. It doesn't happen that much, and besides...
Dude, this is such a fucking great segue. Oh my god, it's such a good segue. It's insane. I want to introduce you to dude, because the thing is, I really wanted to make fun of a retard, and I am literally given the opportunity, by God, to make fun of a retard. So there was a leftist streamer party. All right, Ludwig hosted, as you know. Ludwig is a big Hassan Glazer. So a Ludwig hosted streamer party. Let me see if I can find the actual clip for you. The actual clip. And there was someone at the party by the name of Mango. All right, Mango is a Smash Bros player, and this is what he did on his clip.
Yeah, this is a really...
Yeah, I don't know who this guy is, but...
Really bad look. We're never getting sponsored, bro.
Yeah, I don't want commentary. I just want the actual clip. Where's the actual clip? Dude, where's the actual clip? All right, here's the actual clip.
We're not drunk, guys. Yeah, we're not drunk. But Mango on
So this is him humping her head.
the other hand... No. He's humping toes. No.
End the stream! End it!
End the stream, Mango said.
End the stream!
Yeah, so that's obviously gross. You know, it's our woman-respecting leftists over there. So that's what he did. Now, obviously, that's horrible, and he was not allowed back at further parties. I think that's disgusting, immoral, gross behavior, personally. I absolutely would not ever let this person into a party ever again. Now, let me introduce you to a certain very woke streamer, very anti-Asmongold, because Asmongold is too pro-Trump, all right, by the name of Connor Eats Pants. All right, what did Connor Eats Pants have to say about this?
I think we'll just have to see how things go. I think you guys understand how I feel about it. There's no defending what Mango did.
All right, male feminist. There's no defending what he did.
Or anything like that. But
based, by the way, I agree. There is no defending what he did. It's gross.
At the same time, I think there is like a bit of a, witch hunt mentality of people.
Oh, a witch hunt mentality. Oh, a witch hunt mentality?
Trying to pile on and make things worse for them than it maybe needs to be, but it sucks. What happened? I was just Mango got too drunk at Virio.
Oh, he just got too drunk.
Did Mango stuff that...
Oh, he just did Mango stuff.
There's no other way to put it. It was pretty much sexual...
There's no other way to put it than Mango stuff?
Harassment. Whether or not the intent was,
Intent, of course.
I think he was doing that with everybody, but obviously it has a different... You get what I mean. I don't want to talk about it too much. Obviously it's worse when it's around women and stuff that are visibly uncomfortable, especially when it's on stream.
Yeah, on stream. Especially when it's on stream, right. It's a shame it was recorded, am I right, guys?
And they don't want to have that up with them on stream and stuff.
Yeah, so this guy is really quick to call out literally every single person that voted for Trump because Trump was in court for sexually harassing people. All right, he was sexually assaulted someone according to court. Right? Am I right, guys? You can't defend it. Anyway, I'll proceed to defend it now. This is the bullshit that you see every time. It's indefensible. Stop being such a fake bitch, going on cancel crusades for everybody else. Lamau, these slimy streamers are 100 times worse than the people that try to cancel. I agree with me. I am so completely right. Yes. Gross humans, all of them. Zero morals. They don't care. They're on the right side because they're my side. All right, dude. Let's go. Based. These people are fucking snakes. Every single one of them.
Sides.
You have to realize these people go out and call me a neo-Nazi pedophile. Okay? A genocide supporter. These are the shit, and this is the crap that they call me out for all the time, okay? You have to realize this. And these are the people that they will defend, all right? I've been on the internet for 10 years. I've been canceled endless amounts of times. There has never, ever, ever been a single person who came out with some sort of like sexual assault allegation or harassment allegation or any allegation. None of them. You know why? Because I'm a good guy. Because I'm a good fucking guy. I'm just a guy that does my thing. I have my morals and I have my virtues, and if you don't agree with them, I don't give a shit, dude. I don't care. Better than all these fake frauds.
The reason behind why he hit you.
Canceled endless times over the last 10 years. I am still here at the peak of my career. You know what that means? It means that I'm a better, realer person than all of these frauds.
He was pretty good. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater just because he used a little bit of violence that one time. I'm not kidding when I say that this guy's whole video was basically that argument. I mean, there was so little focus on any of the numerous terrorist acts that were committed outside of him quickly saying that violence is bad.
You know why? You know why? It's because I literally just explained it. It's an immoral position that they need to feel inclusive to everyone on the left. Even if you personally are against terrorism, you need to have this, like, the right is the bad guys, obviously. And you need to sit there and be the morally inclusive guy.
That I had to rewatch the video to even catch that he said the violence was bad. And he's not the only more reasonable sounding person on the left who dismissed the violence.
That's the crazy part. He is one of the reasonable people on the left. He really is. He is one of the more reasonable people on the left. In between watching deepfake porn, he is more reasonable in his positions.
Hank Green also made a video on this where he didn't even have the courtesy to disavow the violence.
Wow! Very cool!
In fact, upon rewatching it to make sure, he not only minimizes the violence just like Atrioc, but he appears to be encouraging it.
You do your best to be as immoral and illegal about it as possible, to make it so that many people believe that the right thing to do is to stop an ICE agent from doing what they have been told to do. So you have two people who feel that it is their obligation to do opposite things in a physical space, and so you have actual conflict and that erupt in violence. Now, people will say they could just do it non-violently, just put on suits and march through the streets, but if you think that these policies and the suspension of due process...
Okay, that's defending the violence. That's not saying violence bad, that's defending the violence. Wait, what?
...is illegal, then it makes sense that you might physically try and stop a person who thinks they are enforcing the law from breaking the law.
Okay, maybe we can discuss the right to self-defense in the...
Holy shit, what is happening?
...case that the government is doing something illegal. But how is robbing stores self-defense? How is setting stuff on fire self-defense? How is...
Very, very defensive arson, okay? Mostly peaceful arson.
Blocking roads and impeding emergency...
That's a crime, by the way.
...services...
Yes, blocking roads is a crime.
Self-defense. How is attacking journalists self-defense? The reality is that the people who are doing these things are not engaging in self-defense.
No, it's terrorism. They're engaging in terrorism.
They're just criminals.
Yes.
And criminals should receive punishment. Otherwise, they will keep committing crimes.
Yes. Unfortunately, this is just how criminals act. They see windows of opportunity to pick on people, and if they feel they'll get away with it, they will take that opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Why are these people on the left so afraid to take any action against rioters? Literally, all they do is run damage control for the rioters and say it's not that bad. Meanwhile, while everyone on the left is running that damage control, what's actually going on is that rioters are using peaceful protesters as human shields to hide behind as they commit crimes. And the rioters absolutely know they can hide amongst the people who are nonviolent, because if you watch the videos of the riots, you can see rioters standing amongst nonviolent protesters while the rioters are throwing bricks at cops trying to murder them. And the cops are hesitant to defend themselves because they can't do anything without hitting people who aren't being violent.
True. And the solution is they should.
See that reporter from earlier, Nick Shirley, as an innocent bystander, getting tear gas as the cops try to stop the violent protesters. Also, let me be clear, I do not consider the shitloads of people who block roads to be peaceful protesters either.
I hate when people do this. If you're blocking a road, which is illegal, you should be arrested for your crime because you did a crime. And I really think that crimes need to be enforced, or people just keep pushing it to further and further extremes. Abso-fucking-lutely. Absolutely. And Hassan Piker, who stood in roads and blocked highways, with all due respect, put him in jail. I don't care why. Put him in, for crimes, for criminal opportunities, for promoting terrorism, for being a communist. Dude is literally flipping off the law at every possible opportunity, and he gets away with all of it because, honestly, the government's dealing with other shit.
Either.
Thank you, white people, for telling black people they can't go to work.
How is this a peaceful protest if there's no...
How do y'all as white people feel about stopping a black woman from going to work?
Oh no, not work.
Oh no, not work, says the white guy in the man bun that never worked his entire life.
I care so much.
So you don't care about stopping black people from going to work?
Look at this line it's causing. I'm not causing no problems. I'm not trying to. We're just trying to leave.
Do you think it's peaceful for this man to intimidate her and tell her that she can't go to work? No, he's
absolutely not. You're restricting her movement. You are restricting her movement.
He's holding her hostage. True. So I really have a problem with seeing the viewpoint of the left on this. Even the ones who appear—
There is no viewpoint. There is no viewpoint. The left is a fucking cult. It is. It is. There are people in a cult on the right as well, but there are people in a cult on the left. I'm sorry. Absolutely. What are you talking about? If you can't disavow direct calls to violence, you're either a terrorist or in a cult. That one of the two. If you cannot disavow the violence, you're either in a cult or a terrorist.
To be more calm and collected because they don't see blocking the roads as violent protesting, and they go out of their way to defend rioters. But even still, I do hear their arguments. I get that being reckless about deportations can get some legal citizens caught up in the crossfire.
But none were. I think it's important to recognize this too. There was not a single legal American citizen that was deported. Not one. Okay? That's why this shit is so like cringe. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. There were more people. Okay, put this number into your head. There were more people killed at these riots than there were legal Americans deported. Okay? Who's the good guys?
And we can certainly discuss if that's happening or not, because I don't want people who have the right to be here to be thrown out.
But there weren't. It didn't happen a single time. Not once.
However, I'm not going to open up a conversation with people who sit by and watch terrorist act after terrorist act be committed, and not only aid those terrorists by being their little damage control PR team, but oftentimes, in fact, pretty frequently, they encourage the violence.
Kind of wish I was there.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Because I think it would be really fucking sweet.
Oh, dude, look, it's iCucks.
Tear gas back at them.
A lot of people.
Yo, just throw the tear gas back at them, guys. Guys, I actually have a that was the I'm not gonna lie. The actual footage here, it's not very clear. It's a little bit blurry. So let me show you what this actually looks like in 4K. This is actually what he's saying, all right? Oh, we're going to the No Kings protest after this. Honey, will you shut up? I need to concentrate. That's actually what was happening. This is just some 4K footage of what's going on with iDubbbz.
Because I think it would be really fucking sweet to throw the tear gas back at them.
A lot of people worry about property damage for the sake of property damage. You know?
A lot of people worry about property damage for the sake of... Oh, so you support terrorism?
It's not like a terrifying situation at all. Seeing it on television obviously feels a lot different than just like being right here.
There are very few people on the left actually making an effort to stop or mitigate the violent protesting, outside of maybe Bernie Sanders, who apparently is on the correct side of history for a second time here.
Woo!
Hopefully he doesn't walk it back this time. But like I said, for the most part, talk is cheap. Criminals don't care about kind words, and probably the best policy here is to fuck around and find out.
So I'm gonna break it down for you, all right? And if somebody wants to know what I mean by turn violent,
yeah, I love this guy.
This is what I mean. If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that.
All right.
If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over. If you hit one of them, you're going to the hospital and jail. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at.
Yeah, I don't really see a problem with anything.
Give this man all the donuts,
he said, because the violence keeps getting worse and it goes beyond the mostly peaceful protest. As I'm recording this, Democrat Melissa Hortman and her husband just got murdered, conveniently right after she was the only Democrat who voted.
Yeah, this is fucking awful. This is abysmal shit.
Against medical care for illegals.
She voted against illegals, and she got murdered by somebody who claimed, remember, the murderer claimed Tim Waltz told him to kill them.
Whitman was the lone DFL lawmaker to cast a vote to cut Minnesota Care access for undocumented immigrants. It's a move she made with a heavy heart.
I know that people will be hurt by that vote, and
She's scared of the terrorists on the left.
We worked very hard to try to get a budget deal that wouldn't include that provision.
It's interesting that the killer was found with a bunch of No Kings anti-Trump protest flyers in his car, and he was a former Tim Walz appointee, so the likelihood he's on the left is high. Also,
and it was recently revealed after they caught him that not only is it likely that he's on the left, but he claims that he was literally told to kill him by the left.
Because of the current evidence, I don't think anyone is denying that this was a politically motivated assassination.
Well, maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner. Maybe it's time for us to be a little more fierce.
What did you mean by that? Earlier, that girl said you meant bullying, but seeing all the constant violent ideations and behaviors from the left, I'm thinking more so he was encouraging rioting and violence. And honestly, whether the assassin was a leftist or not, do you guys really want to live in a place where people now have to be afraid of getting murdered if a vote they make ends up being unpopular?
Yeah, not so
All
much.
of you people who are crossing your fingers and hoping someone assassinates Trump, note that this happened to a Democrat. If they can do it to politicians that you hate, they will also do it to the ones that you like, which is why there must be a zero-tolerance policy on things like violent protesting and terrorism.
Yeah, no shit.
Now, let's move the conversation away from the
Like, this should be so obvious, man. It really should be just so unbelievably obvious. But for some reason, it's not.
Ill radicals a slight bit. And let me be clear. I have my own political biases, but I love the fact that America has different political factions.
Agreed.
Because different people with different priorities will bring important problems to your attention that you weren't aware of.
Agreed.
And to simplify, I think it's the job of the left to say, hey, look at all this bad stuff the corporations are doing. And it's the job of the right to say, hey, look at all this bad stuff the government is doing. Then we hash out our differing perspectives and learn more about the world. Yeah. We are supposed to disagree and fight with each other on these issues. Neither party is supposed to win 100%. And if that does happen...
He's completely right. Absolutely. That's why you definitely need to have two sides. That's why you need to have competition. That's why competition is good. I completely agree.
It's called authoritarianism. Being able to talk out our disagreements is what makes...
And if you don't like that you lost an election, then you are a fascist. If you don't like that you lost an election and therefore you want to kill the guy that won, then you are the fascist. Literally. You are. You are the terrorist.
It's America great, but when one side is throwing fists, there is no longer a conversation. There's just, hey, that guy just threw a brick at someone's head. He needs to be...
No, that's terrorism. And America doesn't stand for terrorism. And there's no reason why anyone should stand for terrorism.
Stopped. Use lethal force if necessary. We don't have a society if that continues to happen. And if it...
Agreed. The downfall of the West, in my opinion, is not going to come from some greater army showing up and conquering America by force. That's not going to happen, okay? And if it does, it's not going to be for a very long time. The downfall of the West... If it happens, it'll be from within. It'll be from terrorism from within. People being radicalized to join actual terrorist organizations and cuck the entire country. Now, again, I think that there are definitely solutions to this, like enforcing laws, but I think the ultimate thing that needs to happen in America, and again, I know that obviously not everyone in my audience has the same perspectives as I do, so I'm going to say something that I'm sure a lot of you are going to disagree with, but this is just my belief, and you know me, if you subscribe to me and watch my content, you know that I say what I believe, even if it's something that you don't agree with. I think what needs to be implemented, largely in America, is faith. I think we got to bring God back to the people.
If it does continue to happen, it will very much be a bad day when people on the opposing side stop being nice and start defending themselves. I would very much like to live in a place where that doesn't happen, so how about we stop allowing people to commit crimes? Anyway, thanks for watching.
Yeah, I'll link him in the description, of course. Yeah, no, I think so. I do think so. I know that I already see a lot of people in my chat disagreeing, and that's fine. I totally get it. Again, I'm not trying to convince you of things. I just think that what I personally think. I'm not telling you that we need to have, like, this religious zealotry, obviously, but I do think that what we do need is an actual appreciation of faith in general. I think that we don't have that. I think that for some reason morality has died, and I don't know what you could say about it. It's crazy. Now, again, that's whatever. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Don't be a terrorist, I guess. And we need to start calling them what they are. We need to start calling the radical leftists a terrorist organization. I'll see you in the next one, gamers. Stay weird, fam. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.